Guys, let me give you a rundown on UFC 298. I'm going to give you it from the perspective of a cornerman, or really, this goes for anyone in the fighter entourage, right? So the entire week will be me doing this, reading a message that says, "Hey brother, how you been? Miss you, hope everything's good." I reply, and then the next message I get is, "Any chance of some UFC tickets?" That's what I get 10 times a day for basically 7 days for that whole week. People asking me for tickets, and again, non-stop asking me for tickets, really, not realizing how little power or value I actually provide to this team. So I really can't give anyone tickets. Hell, I mean, even half the UFC events, if I hit up Fight Pass for tickets for myself, they're going to say, "Hey, fuck you, go buy a ticket. We'd rather have this person in those seats." So again, if you ever wonder what it's like being a part of the entourage, that's basically it. And then really just trying to protect your fighter, your friend, from people just invading their privacy all week, invading their time, asking for shit. Like I remember at the gym we were training at, Volkanovski's done his last training session. He's in the sauna blanket. He's cutting weight. He has to cut at least 12 pounds from that training session until the next morning. And he's in the sauna blanket. Obviously, there's a jiu-jitsu class. People are using the gym. And guys would come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, you reckon I get a photo with Volkanovski right now?" And I'm like, "Bro, he's dying right now. He's in the sauna blanket. His body literally thinks he's dying. He can't even stand up too fast or he's going to pass out. And you want me to go say, 'Hey, bro, how about you get up out of that sauna blanket and we jump you in for this photo with this guy at this gym,' you know?" That is basically the week. It's like, it's crazy. Hey, so put yourself in the mind of the guy that's fighting, right? What his week is jet lag, anxiety of the fight, cutting weight, and then going to do media every day where he does 30, 40 interviews, and each of those interviews, the interviewer, generally speaking, asks the exact same question. So it's like for these guys to have the patience to go through that week and barely even make it to the fight is crazy. Because I know for myself, like I'm only doing a handful of interviews and I'm trying to make a mockery of the whole process, find some joy in it. But yeah, the fans are brutal. Obviously the fans are awesome. If you win, they're brutal. If you lose, I fight some battles in the interviews too. So my Instagram, I get pillaged if my fighter takes a loss. But that's basically it. The fans are fickle. Even Volkanovski's coach, Joe Lopez is fickle too. The second Ilya won, he changed his name back to Jose Lopez and started speaking Spanish with a lisp again. When he's in Australia, he's Joe Lopez. When Ilya wins the fight, he is Jose Lopez. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the summary of the week. If I want to break down the fight, I can't really break down the fight because you're asking a guy who's the grappling coach to break down the striking, right? That's not really my place to say. Obviously, I hope they do a rematch somewhere down the track and Volks can get some revenge. But yeah, who am I to say how much time he should take off? Like, that's not really my role. My role is to support the fighter and prepare him the best I can and make sure he's safe in doing so. His career decisions are totally up to him. A lot of people playing armchair quarterback, saying what he should or shouldn't do in his athletic career, while them, being a 250-pound IT worker, goes back to Instagram to critique his athletic endeavors or any sort of CTE issues they personally might have expertise in. But yeah, that's the UFC. The UFC was pretty sick. We shared the locker room with Whittaker. Whittaker, obviously awesome guy. Whittaker, I feel a strong attachment to, given he's Australian. However, Paulo Costa, big fan of gay jokes, I also feel a strong attachment to. So that was a good fight to watch, good back and forth. A lot of those fights were super tough to call. Like, obviously, Whittaker got the W there, but Paulo definitely did do some damage. Paulo Costa, fucking hilarious guy. I don't know where he goes next after this fight. Definitely some more interesting matchups to take place. Whitaker would be cool to see him take on Hamzat or something like that in the middleweight division. But in terms of the rest of the card, I actually thought Mackenzie Dern. I didn't get to watch most of the fights because obviously we're busy throughout. We're just peeking over, glancing over at the screen. We watched the Mackenzie one on the ride in. I thought Mackenzie did enough to win. Mackenzie looks absolutely fucking jacked right now. He's got bigger traps than most of the dudes at this gym. But yeah, I thought she did enough to win. A couple sweeps, top control, not a lot of damage. I thought she won it 2-1. But yeah, damage is meant to trump control. But again, what the fuck do I know? I'm just in the corner pretending to know what I do. Basically, Zuckerberg's experience in the corner was what I do every single time I'm in the corner, except all eyes are on Zuckerberg. Man, I've had so many messages about what Zuck's like, all these questions, what my experiences were like with him. All I'll say, fucking super nice guy. We shook hands 4 times. Not one of those was a smooth operation on either front. But I'll say that he's probably as socially awkward as your average blue belt in a jiu-jitsu gym, maybe even less so, you know? Like, I think people see some of the shit that happens to him on TV and they think, oh, he's gonna be a super awkward guy. But I mean, if your expectations are that level of autism, when you meet him in person, he's actually pretty fucking normal. So I feel bad for him that he didn't get a hold of any. Like, he was trying to grab, like in that meme, he was trying to grab, like Volks is getting undressed to get into the cage, that last thing he does before he gets in the cage is get undressed. And Volks is obviously a nice guy, so like his hoodie's sweaty, he's giving up his fucking flip-flops, you know. He's probably thinking, oh, I'll skip over Zuck, I don't want to hand him this fucking filthy shit, I'll give it to my dirty cornerman instead. So Zuck's trying to be helpful in the corner and just a funny, awkward experience. But I'm happy it happened because I was in the background of that and I can take some of that fame from Zuck's awkwardness. But yeah, obviously, what else can I say about the fight? The fans are brutal, but sucks to lose to a guy that wears turtleneck sweaters. You know, that hurts. Obviously, same thing happens in grappling. We lose to people in grappling that might obviously put a lift kit on their truck or a loud exhaust on something like that. It hurts to lose to people like that more than the average person, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, first and foremost, you want your fighter to win, but you also want them to remain safe and healthy. So that's the primary concern. So, I mean, that being said, even if your fighter wins in an absolute war where they take a lot of damage, it's not a great feeling after the fight anyway, because again, at the end of the day, that's your friend. Ideally, you'd want him to take that victory without taking any damage at all. So obviously to see back-to-back knockouts is sad to watch. And it makes it even, people, obviously sports fans get super emotional about sports results, even like fucking bull sports and shit. You see people having emotional breakdowns over this shit. They don't even know the players. They know nothing about the players' personal lives or anything really. They just are fans of these teams, and people get like that about their favorite fighters too. I remember when I was younger, I'd get quite excited watching the fights. I'd be so invested in a fight even though I knew nothing about him. But obviously when you've known the fighter for years, when you have some responsibility to them by being in the corner, you know their wife, their kids, you know they're a really good person. Obviously you can imagine the pressure and the stress levels you feel in the corner as you not only want them to win and succeed, but you don't want them to take any damage or get hurt, suffer the consequences of those losses. So yeah, I will say it is a brutal sport. I would rather him be in there fighting than me. Obviously, it's much better on the outside, but yeah, it is tough to watch your friends in those situations. But on to more exciting things. I am going to Mexico City Wednesday to compete on Friday the 23rd against Philip Rowe in Mexico City. Mexico City, I agreed to do this in premise before I signed the follow-up match Lovato because I thought, fuck yeah, Mexico's going to be a wild after party. I could go Tony Montana style on the bags at a completely affordable price. But he also twisted my arm into it because I'm going to have a walk out with a mariachi band. So yeah, pretty excited for this one. Phil Rowe, friends, a guy I've trained with a bunch, surprisingly good grappler. This will not be as easy a match as everyone makes it out to be. Obviously, I think I'm going to win. I think I'm going to submit him, but Phil's still pretty tough grappler. Some of these MMA guys are very tough grapplers. Luke Rockhold. Luke's very, very fucking good. He could submit a lot of high-level black belts in competition today. So yeah, don't discount the MMA fighters grappling. Sometimes those guys are better than us at grappling. They just choose to take their skills to MMA because pays much, much better. But yeah, I got Phil Rowe, 23rd. Please, somebody throw bags at me as I walk out to compete. I'll need it. Coco Leaves is good for altitude in Machu Picchu. Mexico City, pretty fucking high. I think we need to go straight to the more refined version to survive the stresses of my body at that level of altitude.